morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our TikTok Live. My name is Hani Madhu. I will be the moderator / MC for today's event. If you're wondering what's going on right now, well, we kind of have been promoting this topic, dumb ways to hurt yourself online. Kids, parents, if you're listening, make sure you stay tuned until 12-ish, all right? I say 12-ish because it's still kind of vague area. Anywho's, we're going to be discussing something very important for you today. We're talking about being safe online, and that starts with the ability to identify the potential risks and personal security threats while browsing, sharing, or surfing the internet. Now, this is super important. What's also important as well is to recognize the negative interactions, especially when it comes to dangerous challenges or hoaxes. So this is what we're going to uncover here today. And you have to remember, it's always important to express yourself, but it's super important to be safe online. So with me today is a wonderful panel who's going to be sharing their insight. All right, but before I introduce my wonderful panel, here's our hashtag for today. It's think before you do. That speaks for itself. Okay, so let's introduce our wonderful panel. I'm a bit nervous, so I hope these panelists will make us feel better today. TikTok Head of Public Policy, Christopher Edward Rada, or also known as Toff. Hi, Toff.
Hi, honey. Good morning.
Hi. You good?
Perfect.
Okay. From MC, we've got Chief Development Officer Encik Nizam. How are you?
Morning, honey. How are you?
Good. Monsters Among Us Founding Director Farzana Ridzwan.
Hi, nice to meet all of you.
Cantik your kebaya this morning. And also TikTok creators Sofina,
Hi, honey.
who's mama of three. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. And also Amina from TikTok, the one with the mask on. She's shy like that. All right, round of applause. Come on. Clap for each other. Come. Let's liven up the mood a little bit, okay? Don't be so nervous. Don't sit straight and all that. Just relax. We're going to be talking about dumb ways to hurt yourself online. It's similar to that, if you know that show, Dumb Ways to Die. So this is kind of like inspired by that. All right. So the internet, honestly, for me and for everyone who uses it, it's a great space. You know, like back when I grew up, there's no such thing as the internet. The internet just started, so we still needed to do, research on encyclopedia and all that. But for these kids, they just type in Google, and it's just like that, isn't it? So we need to understand how their brain works and why they are affected by these challenges. And maybe there's a need to, fit in to the society of the internet in the world we live in now. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Are my panelists ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I need a stronger yes.
Yes.
Yes, let's discuss this. Let's dissect this.
Do this.
Let's do this. All right, so let's start with the creators first, and Farzana, of course, because you guys are like in the main forefront, okay? So, Sofina, it would seem like, there is a new challenge that happens, maybe every week, maybe every month that goes unnoticed and then suddenly becomes viral. So, just want to know, what do you think is the appeal of these challenges for you?
Okay. As I would say for the youth, right? I think psychologically perspective, the youth are more focused on engaging on social media actions that can gain popularity. They can go viral. That sense of belonging to a certain group, or they want to be famous, they want to be recognized, they want to be validated. That is the youth. And unfortunately, the youth, the brain, that part of the brain that makes the decision making and judgment is not fully developed. From what I understand, it's fully developed when they are 25. So imagine at that age, being exposed to that type of challenges, which can be harmful to them. So that's when the parents come in. I believe that's when the parents have to come in. Yeah.
And you being a mom of three and your eldest is 24.
Yes, 24.
Did you say we reach maturity at the age of 25?
Yes.
So your eldest has one more year.
Has one more
before
year.
you trust your
yes.
children.
Before I let
to
him
use.
go.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, Farzana, you are also the founder of Monsters Among Us. It's to protect children from, ever experiencing sexual abuse. So this is a really great NGO that you started. So for you, what do you think is the appeal?
Well, I think it's very simple. It's the relatability of this content to our children and young people, right? We're seeing a huge spectrum of stuff that's platformed on social media, from fashion to activities to science. You know, it's a huge umbrella of things that kids can explore. So as much as you know, there are negative sides to it, but I think what's appealing to them is how they can explore themselves online, and also having that sense of doing it together with their peers online. So in a way, it doesn't have to necessarily be negative, because our kids use these platforms to really deep dive into what they really want to do, who they are. So I think it's a great thing about that's one great thing about the internet. But there's always, you know, that sense of balance between the good and bad.
Right. Okay, now I'm going to pose the same question to Amina.
Yes.
Amina speaks a lot about, you know, facts about law, and, you know, she shares it all on her TikTok account. What do you think is the appeal?
I think audience needs to understand that children are 18 years and below. So these children really attracted to things that could give them fame, attention, because children want attention. So we have kids, and kids want attention. If they did not get that from their parents at home, they will seek it from the social media. From Friendster to Facebook, from Facebook to Instagram, and now TikTok is the main platform. So they wanted to do this challenge to be accepted, to be verified. They want to be loved. They love people when people give comments, good comments to them. They wanted attention. It's about attention and pleasing others. They are living in a social media world where verification is needed. That is the danger of these challenges, because they live their life every day thinking what to do next to make sure that people recognize them in social media, without thinking the bad effect of it. Yeah.
Right. In a way, parents, you should show your attention to your children more, bring them out more, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pose the same question to Encik Nizam here from MCMC. In terms of demographics, what is the, you know, usually you see the case, is it kids or teens that's more likely to participate in these dangerous challenges?
I think, as Sabina mentioned, the one that is most exposed would be in the teens. Although, based on the fact just now, we don't develop until we're 25. I think beyond 20, I think the risk of engaging in such dangerous activities is going to be quite low.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to focus on is between 13 to 17, 18, and that's the most exposed. Based on studies 2 years ago, 2020, I think the amount of time children spend on social media ranges from 3 hours to some as high as 15 hours. And if you take the Malaysia context, normally you would start having your own device around, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, depending on the financial status of the family. But I think most people would have a phone by 13, right? So between 13 to 17, that's a lot of years that you are exposed to something that you don't really understand. And it is our responsibility as guardians, as parents, as friends, as regulators, to help give that awareness to the exposed group so that they can protect themselves.
Right. Awareness is definitely what we want to achieve by doing this TikTok Live for you here today. And what more? We need to hear from Toph himself. He is from TikTok. Maybe you can share with us, there's so many challenges going on, but maybe you can share with us, maybe in the past or ongoing, some of the danger challenges that TikTok has encountered.
Yeah, thanks, Sunny. Before I go into that particular detail, I suppose I could tell the wider audience that's watching today that for TikTok, we've always said that worldwide and in Malaysia, that online safety is definitely our top priority. But more than words, we want to back it up with actions, right? That's why we're working very closely, and I love it that we have representatives, we have parents, we have creators, we have the legal side, we have government, because we always believe in a whole of society approach, right? We were talking about this earlier, right? We grew up in an analog world, but some of the issues that were mentioned at the top of this forum were really issues that were found even before the start of the digital age. Now that we have all of these online platforms, all of these issues are just transposed to the digital world. So how do we engage now? How do we open up these conversations, right? And particularly for dangerous challenges, right? I think the solutions are the same. We had with MCMC last year an initial engagement, talking to parents, talking to the youth, to open up those difficult conversations about online safety. And I think it's a great follow-up to that. We talk about broader policy challenges. How do we, as a part of a multi-sectoral effort, try to come up with concrete solutions? And of course, TikTok is very happy and will be very engaged to be part of that. And we'll talk about that in greater detail as we go along.
Do you remember some of the dangerous challenges, Toph?
Oh yeah, I remember there was a milk cart challenge that I saw I think sometime last year.
Which one was that?
Somebody was trying to stack milk carts and trying to balance themselves out, right? I think some of us have seen that. And I think, of course, it seems like a cool thing to do at the start, and I think it's been referenced, like when you're a kid, when you're a teen, the tendency would be to try and latch onto that to be the coolest guy or the coolest girl in the block. But I think through conversations like these, right, again, they talked about acceptance, they talked about trying to be popular.
Yeah.
I think we can stress, similar to how it is in the real world, right, that there are many ways to go around that without necessarily endangering yourself on the platform, right? So obviously for TikTok, we have a lot of guardrails. We have community guidelines that have expressly prohibit that. But at the same time, if there are a few things that are within the gray area, there is, and I think it's very important for everyone watching today, that there are a lot of avenues, particularly on the platform, that you can use to report, and so that we can immediately take action on these dangerous challenges.
Okay, that's very interesting. I also wanted to mention one of the challenges that I remember coming across was the Skull Breaker Challenge in March 2020. The challenge was, two kids would jump, or they would kick the legs of a third person, and then the person would land on their skull. Now that resulted in crazy, heavy injuries, and we really hope something like that will never ever repeat again, because you could see kids in middle school doing this to each other, and it's devastating, to know that this is circulating online and kids are really seriously injured. So anyways, maybe Toph, you mentioned something to do, what are the solutions to it? Maybe you can add on a little bit more. Is there like a refresh safety guide or something that TikTok wants to talk about now?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there are several aspects to this, right? I did mention at the start that we began this conversation with MCMC, with some parents last year. And during that time, there was a family safety guide, right? In that guide, you basically allowed, say, top 10 tips, for instance, for parents to make it easy to open up those conversations with their kids. We basically try to help them guide those conversations to a place that it's not too awkward, right? So the generational gaps aren't too pronounced. But for this purpose, I think this refreshed safety guide takes it a step further, right? Now it goes to the individual level. Now, what do we do whenever we see a dangerous challenge? And we try to make it simple in a 4-step process, right? We start with stop, right? When you see a challenge, what do? We recommend that you pause for a while. You stop and think about, is there really benefit in doing this, right? Well, is there something that could potentially harm me if I get into this, right? So just pause for a while, take a couple of seconds, and then after that you think, right? You think about the specifics of the challenge, right? How does this challenge particularly impact me, impact my peers, impact possibly the wider society? And then you decide based on that. That's the third step. You decide, and hopefully through these conversations, we help you make that critical choice the right way.
Right.
And finally, you act. So stop, think, decide, and you act.
That
and
could be a dance move.
Absolutely.
Stop, think, decide, act.
We can try that later towards the end of this conversation. But ultimately, our hope is by engaging all of us, right? By providing everyone with relevant and critical information, we hope that action is the right one, right? Of course, we can never, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect, right? But hopefully, by providing enough people online with sufficient information as to the relevance of, say, certain challenges, that action will tend to lead you towards a better informed decision.
Yes, thank you for that. Stop, think, decide, act. Can remember, very easy to remember.
Yeah.
All right, now this question is from Encik Nizam. Obviously, the internet is open to anyone who has access to it, right? But there's still a need to regulate, and that's where MCMC comes in.
Yes.
Are there any regulations or plans you can share with us to prevent some of these dangerous challenges from occurring?
Okay, thank you. Before I get into that, I think a lot of people look at internet and reality as two separate things.
Yes.
And I think the first thing that we need is to have a change of mindset as opposed to what is the internet, what is social media. To me, that is a universe similar to what we have, the real life universe.
Love
so
that.
whatever you do here, you must behave the same way in the internet world. Just because someone does not know you from your handle or from your ID or from your email doesn't make you, doesn't allow you to behave differently, right? So similarly, and that goes across society. Parents look at your children's friends in real life. You need to do the same for internet. You need to know who their friends are, right? As an individual, for example, if I go into a place I'm not familiar with this area, I'll be a bit more careful, right? Similarly, on the internet, if you're not familiar, you should be more careful, right? I mean, as an individual, as a person. So from MCMC, we do have regulations, and I can state that we have a regulation to regulate the content in terms that are obscene, indecent, offensive, false, menacing in nature, and so on and so forth. And there is there's a website that we recommend everyone who has seen any content that you think is not suitable via the aduan.skmm.gov.my or PDRM. And the other thing that I also want to state, it is not just MCMC as a regulator that is there to protect individual societies from the internet. The similar organizations that are currently today protecting us in the real world are also the ones responsible protecting us in the internet space. For example, PDRM is there, the Bank Negara is there, and so on. All the current societies, they have also an internet presence. So these organizations, we need to reach out for all the different areas of complaints that sort of like, the same people. That's why I said we need a different mindset to think that internet is different and real life is different. Internet is real life.
Internet is real life. I like that.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people do have a different persona online.
Yeah.
And in person, the person might be very subdued, but on the internet, the person is really reckless,
Yeah.
So this is something we can take note of. Thank you for the sharing. This question is for you, Farzana. In order to feel accepted, there's this FOMO term that's created, I don't know, a couple of years back. But I prefer the term JOMO. But anyway, speaking of, do you know the term JOMO?
No.
JOMO means joy of missing out. So that's me. I can be a bit of a home buddy sometimes. But FOMO is something that teens are always like, I want to follow too, I want to go, you didn't ajak me, you didn't invite me, so they want to join too. So in terms of this FOMO spirit or energy that the youths currently have, right? This is why maybe they participate in these dangerous challenges. How can youth and children say no, in your opinion?
Well, I think firstly it starts with bridging all of this useful information and also critical thinking skills to our children and youth, right? They can only do so much with the amount of information that's given to them. So I think adults and young people surrounding children can better support children in making wiser decisions by being honest with the dangers and the harms and the risks of the internet. I think we have really minimal conversations and open, honest conversations that's judgment-free with our children when we talk about the internet. Because whenever we talk about the internet and children, it's always they're wasting time, they're doing all of these wasteful activities. But we're not honest with the extent and the severity of these harms online. So I think that's the first start, right? Empowering our children, equipping them with knowledge and tools so that they can take their own initiatives so that they are more resilient online and they can make wiser decisions. And secondly, I think what's also missing out in the conversations that we have with our children is actually telling them where to go if a harm does happen. So because whenever, if a child were to come to us and showed us, for instance, pornography material, the first reaction that we would show to our child is like, we freak out, right? Like, why are you watching this kind of material? Why is your history search like this? But without actually fully embracing the fact that the child is at least courageous enough, brave enough to come to us, their trusted adults, to discover this together. So I think moving forward,
How would you react to that though?
well, obviously we have to be kind to ourselves, right? Obviously it's something that's super shocking to see a really icky material that's on our children's phone. But I think what we all ought to do is to be more composed and to remind ourselves that this is an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to teach, and an opportunity for either parents or older siblings to learn this with the younger children in our lives. So two things basically: equipping them with knowledge, understanding the risks and the good of the internet, and also bringing them closer to support system. Trusted people. If your parents are not helping, go to your school teachers. If your school teachers are not helping, go to older young people in your life, who might be more open and you can relate more to, like for instance, the young people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really important to learn. Don't freak out.
Yeah. Do not
Just
freak
be
out.
composed. I'm just preparing myself for my children in case something like that happens. Don't freak out, honey. Just what happened? Why? Okay. All right. Thank you for that sharing. Sufina, you're a mom of 3.
Yes.
So am I. But your children are much more mature, but haven't reached the level of maturity in your case, right? So they're 24.
24, 19 and 17.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
your opinion, what have you done to advise your children to stay away from these dangerous challenges?
Okay, the first thing is, I'm talking as my point of view as a mother.
yes.
As a mother, when my children downloaded TikTok in 2018, I was those parents that said, "What are you doing with this?"
Look at
Why,
you now.
This is your time, right? Look at me now. Okay, but the thing that I did wrong at that time at that time was I just immediately dismissed them instead of understanding why they are in that platform in the first place. But after a few incidents with my daughter and my son at that time he does the lip sync and dancing, whereas my daughter comes to me, Ibu, I learned a lot from TikTok. This TikTok teacher is teaching me chemistry, biology. So I said, oh, okay, there's another part of TikTok. So when I came into TikTok and look at what is TikTok all about, there's so many good things, not just the things that most of the parents are saying a waste of time. So to me, for any children, if you take whatever matters to them seriously, without dismissing them, they will be more likely to listen to you. They will be more likely to sit down and discuss. You want to be the person that they go to every time.
Yes.
They want you must be the person that they go to every time they see a trending challenge. Check this one out. I
Yes.
want to do this. So for that, you have to familiarize yourself with the platform. You cannot dismiss straight away and say TikTok is for youngsters, for teens, which is very wrong to me. Parents must be engaged with their children. That's very important. At this era, you have to be very engaged with your children.
I love that. You sound like a really cool mom.
Super cool.
Someone I want to share my secrets with if you were my mom, but Anyways, can you add on something to
Yeah.
that from your perspective?
Yeah, from my perspective, challenges that have been followed in social media platform is not only physical challenge like what we have been talking about. My concern is more on soft porn. I have to mention this because there's a lot of videos that contain soft porn which was imitated by these children. They see adults doing it. They will actually imitate and the video become viral and they get a lot of comments that is nasty and inappropriate for their age. They are 13, 12, 11 and they are doing this just to be accepted. So my worry is if this is not stopped, then the children will get affected. They don't understand the risk of doing that kind of content, showing their body parts. So the parents, as a mother myself, I always teach my child the body controls. You want to do video, you can, but you cannot actually expose your body to everyone. You have to have body control, the boundaries. You need explain to them the risk of if you do this challenge, what will happen? Are you ready to be cyberbullied? You know, people love to comment things without knowing the factual effect of it. So, are you ready to actually go through this emotional battle, the mental torture that the netizen will come to you? And then, do you know the risk of doing this? So, explain and become their friends. Build the trust. Do not dismiss, because sometimes children want you to just listen to them. The important of a parent is to listen and understand. Sometimes children have their reasons why they did that, and listen to them, explain the risk, and make them understand that this is bad and this is good. By doing that, you can actually avoid your children from going deeper into problematic content, you see. So my point is this: as a parent, be a good friend to your children, to make them be comfortable to share anything and everything with you, online and offline. Yeah.
Right, very well said. You know, interpersonal communication at home and how you carry yourself with other people is super important. And it just, you know, we're living in a world where everything is changing.
Yes.
You know, especially in the digital world. Before, to be literate really comes to you learning from books. But now, digital literacy is something I want to explore a little bit with Encik Nizam. Maybe you can share with me a little bit on how we can build digital literacy in the society from your perspective.
Thank you. If I can take, you know, an example during my time when I was in school, I think one of the skills, these are all skills, all the skills that is being, you know, pounded onto you is to be very good in language, in communications.
Yes.
So along the years, we have education of English in schools, in, you know, whatever, at home, in all the places, in the libraries, in cinemas. Back to what I said, the skill today is digital skills, right? Now, a lot of us, a lot of the people in Malaysia, around the world, we are not prepared. We are not equipped with that skill. And we cannot be expecting only a certain group to educate and bring awareness and, you know, educate and to build that skill for our children. I applaud TikTok for having this session, because it's one of the sessions that we need, and we need more. So it's not just TikTok, it has to be at home, in school, in the religious, communities, and so on and so forth. So you get all of the awareness and skills transfer along the way for the children as they grow up. Now for MCMC, we have what we call, used to be called Pusat Internet Communities, right? We have about 1,000 of them around the country. And initially, this was where we have ICT training, basic internet training, how do you do, where do you go, and so on and so forth. But as we evolve, and with the advent of COVID, the internet, Pusat Internet community now has been transformed to become Pusat Ekonomi Digital Keluarga Malaysia. Because of COVID, we need to equip our society to get into the digital economy in order to supplement their income, right? So that's a skill that we do. So within Malaysia, we have 1,000 of these centers. Ourselves, we have another team that we call, two programs I should say. One is the advocacy program that we call Click Dengan Bijak, or Click Intelligently, or Click Wisely, and that is running throughout the year. Secondly, we have a program that we call Malaysian ICT Volunteers, and these are volunteers like you and I, teachers, TikTok creators, can come on board and have a session at all the paddies around the country to train a certain skill, to bring a certain awareness, right? To do the right thing. And these programs can come from TikTok, from yourselves, from any, and we work with all the government agencies, throughout Malaysia, because we have the place, we have the infrastructure, and we're just, more than happy to bring anybody on board. And then we work with TikTok, we have a program with Shopee, we have a program with Aeon, and then all the other, enterprises, either to build and upskill our society in terms of digital. It can be a general ICT training. It could be something else. It could be something like this, right? So I think we should all play our role. As I said, it cannot be only one part of the equation. It has to be along the value chain that all of us contribute. Thank you.
Okay, very interesting. Now, I just want to pause here for a second and just post this to the audiences watching, everyone watching this on TikTok Live. Please feel free to send in some questions. We're going to be doing a Q&A at the end, towards the end, okay? So we really want to hear from you. Keep those comments coming, but keep it clean, guys, okay? Keep it clean. All right, so this is for Toff. Just picking off where we were talking about digital literacy is super important. I love the sharing by Encik Nizam, saying that, we need to all come together and kind of empower the nation by becoming more to enhance the digital skills, right? And this is something that we all need to move on forward, recovering from this pandemic. So how is TikTok contributing to this digital literacy?
Thanks, Honey. Actually, there are several ways by which we do this. I think, first of all, we have to stress that, like I said, we have very strict community guidelines, right? So if it's very clear that certain action, certain trend is causing harm, it's causing misinformation, it's causing bullying and harassment, we have a dedicated team that takes down a whole lot of that content. As a matter of fact, in reality, a lot of that content never really actually makes it to the platform, right? On the back end, we have a team that works very hard to make sure that even before it gets to the platform, before anyone even sees it, it's already taken down. Now, what to do with the other that fraction of videos that do make it on the platform, right? And this is where things like putting up credible sources of information become very relevant. That is why on TikTok, we actually have what we call a digital literacy hub. It was recently launched a couple of months ago, and it is actually an initiative across all Southeast Asian markets, including Malaysia. What is this? It provides you easy access with these tips that we talked about, right? To help guide you across your journey towards digital literacy. And it's not just talking about dangerous challenges. It's also talking about cyber wellness in general, mental health, right? A lot of the things that we grapple with during this pandemic. And it's our hope by giving you easy access to this information, you can readily equip yourselves, whether you're a parent, whether you're a child, or you're an ordinary user. Similarly, we also have hashtag challenges. I'll mention one good one. We have a good hashtag challenge called hashtag think before you do. I think Farzana is a great example of this. She's done good work in using these kind of hashtags. And I think it speaks to some of the points that have been raised earlier about for teens, for instance, looking for acceptance, looking for popularity, right? If you see yourself being part of this huge hashtag, like think before you do, then you realize that it's not just through dangerous challenges that you can be popular and you can be cool. You can actually be cool by doing the right thing because you're on TikTok, right? And you're going viral because you're putting up think before you do, and you're helping others become more responsible citizens online, right? And ultimately, of course, like everyone said, ultimately this conversation has to be continued in real life, right? Nothing beats, I think, still, nothing beats actual face-to-face conversations, whether it's parents and child, peer-to-peer, or within a group of friends, right? So all of this, again, it has to be a holistic approach. So we do our work online, and at the same time, we replicate it through online actions as well. And TikTok, of course, will be very happy to continue those conversations with a broader society.
Right, and okay, I'm going to pose this question to the creators themselves. What do you love most about TikTok? You are a coach on TikTok and you share legal laws, right? So what do you love personally the most about TikTok for yourself? If you're not creating, what do you love about TikTok?
Well, I love, basically you can get a lot of information on TikTok. There are dentists on TikTok, there's lawyers, there's practically all the professions are on TikTok. So from the latest reading that I did, TikTok is now the most visited website after Google. So can you imagine? Most of us are going into TikTok not just for the entertainment purpose, but it's also for the information as well. So what I like about TikTok is it is given in such a simple and short and straight to the point points that you can get and you can actually apply it. So it's not just applicable for us adults, for children as well. Like the teachers educating them, and then people like Rizana is also on TikTok, engaging with all the youth. You know, that's one thing I like about TikTok.
All right, Farzana, maybe you want to share. What do you love about TikTok?
Well, I have to agree. It's super accessible and reachable to all sorts of people on the internet. But I think one thing that I personally love about TikTok is the sense of relatability with this whole lot of people across the globe, right? If you're going through a bad day and you're having all of these, struggling thoughts, you see someone who's also feeling the same. So I think that's one great thing. You know, there's a sense of community, there's a sense of togetherness on TikTok. So, well, I have to learn the tricks to be more active on TikTok from our mom creator here.
That is so true. I mean, I have a newborn now, and 10 years ago, when I first had my first child, I was so clueless on being a mom, you know. But now I feel like new moms can get so much information, example on TikTok, and it's so much funny content, or like, you know, days where I really don't have enough sleep, and I look on TikTok like, oh, there are moms out there who was just the same as me, their babies didn't sleep through the
You're
night,
not
so
alone, yeah.
it's so relatable. I love that. Maybe you can also share what as a lawyer, I mean, you do a lot of reading already, right? what are you doing on TikTok if you're not creating your videos?
If I'm not creating videos, I love recipes. You know, because my son will not eat outside. He loves my cooking. So sometimes I have no idea of what to cook. Then I will just scroll. There are a lot of amazing recipes that are simple and you can just campak-campak and it's done. You see? And then the cat videos, these are calming things, you see. Calming videos, funny videos, children running around messy, and the parents are very good in how to handle the kids, you know. I learned a lot about motherhood inside TikTok. That is what I adore about the videos created in TikTok by mothers.
Right, so this is how we stay safe online, by scrolling through content. That's the whole reason I'm asking this question, really. You don't have to do dangerous challenges. You can learn so much from, you know, online platforms such as TikTok. It's been a pleasure to host this, but we're not done yet, okay? I just wanted to share with you that we are opening up the Q&A session for now. But Encik Nizam, are you on TikTok? Do you scroll on TikTok? I'm sorry. I'm just judging from your facial expression. What do you search on TikTok?
Well, if you look at the poster that we did for this session, I think everyone has a TikTok something on it, except for me. So I'm having a conversation in the office this morning, and said, you know, I have to think of something, you know, TikTok infant or TikTok something.
TikTok infant.
Yeah. So I don't have TikTok on my phone.
Download.
It's never too late.
But I want to make sure that I come here without downloading the app.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So it's just fresh to me. But TikTok, as is with any other application, I'm a technology person, so I understand this very well. I think a lot of people do not see, or they find it's like a distant world when they go into social media, and that's the thing that I'm concerned, because the friends that you might think is coming from social media doesn't necessarily be the friends that you have outside.
So true.
I don't like to talk about this, but I can relate to an incident recently. There's a girl about 16 years of age was depressed, and she posts a vote online on TikTok. You know, what should I do? You know, should I kill myself or should I whatever? And the answers that came back, 70% says kill yourself, and she jumped. So there are a lot of good things that you can find on TikTok, because we are all more than 25, much wiser, and we know what to look out for. But for a lot of people out there, they might not be clear what is good and what is not so good. So I think it's our duty as adults, as guardians, is to have a similar challenge, if you will, which is for the good of the community.
Hashtag think before you do. Thank you for the sharing, Encik Nizam. That's such devastating reminder of that, that situation that actually happened. I wonder, who are those people who voted, kill yourself? I mean, why do we do that to one another? Again, this is when parents come into play, role models in the house, elder brother, elder sister, auntie, uncle, be that, you have to be self-aware of what's happening around you, right? Okay, so can we open the Q&A? And let me just scroll through. Do we have the questions already? Okay, let me just see. Okay, so this question for Farzana. This is not my own questions, yeah? This is from TikTok. Okay. As a digital native, how would you encourage your peers to make better choices online?
I think continuously have open and honest discussions amongst your peers. It's always something that we all can relate to. If there's something that's interesting to us, we share a TikTok to our friend through DMs and this is something that we ought to do, something that we have to do.
Yeah.
Dance challenges and whatnot. And I think getting your own support group would be best for you to come together and probably decide, is this something beneficial? Is this something useful? Is this something that's going to open me to, a lot of risky possibilities out there? So I think because if we're tackling children and teenagers, the closest people to them will be their friends, right? So gather the young people in your life and see how they can have productive and constructive discussions about social media activities together. It's not something that you need to do alone and you need to decide alone. There's always a support network that you always fall back onto.
Right, okay. Nice. For Amina,
Yeah.
this one is for you. As a creator yourself, what is your responsibility in tackling this sort of dangerous content?
That is the reason why I joined TikTok. Initially, I joined TikTok to educate everyone about the legal stand of Malaysia specifically. So my approach, especially to children, to teenagers, because I have 10 siblings and the second, I have teenage sister and I have a son. So what I always tell them that everything you do, there is a risk after that. Think before you act. Think before you do it, like the hashtag. Because I will explain to them the effect legally. For example, if you comment, you cyberbully people, you can be action be taken under defamation. You can be under Section 233 of the SKM Act. You can be under Section 509 of the Penal Code. There are always a legal action can be taken against you. Are you ready for that? Right. That's why you need to think before you write anything. Think before you post even anything, because attention is good. Being people recognize you is good, but are you ready for the after effect? Every decision that you do in life, there are risks after that. So understand that. Have an open conversation with these children, these kids. Not only within you, but you can do it online also. You can actually educate people. Awareness, macam like Mr. Nizam said, it's not only one community. Everyone must take part in it and make sure that we help each other to create awareness, to make children especially understand that online is not the only place to be recognized. You need to know the risk, and you need to know there are always action can be taken against you if you did things wrongly.
Consequences.
Yeah, consequences.
How old is your son?
My son is 9 and I have a baby of 5 months.
Wow, baby of 5 months. Do you tell your kidding?
No, but I talk to her like adult.
Right. So your 9-year-old son hears this a lot.
Yeah, he sees this as nagging, but he understands because he only plays PS5. He doesn't have social media. But live streaming is dangerous. There are threats in live streaming, so I will listen to who he converses with to make sure that he is in safe zone. Yeah.
Yes, that's also another thing, isn't it? All right, for Sufina, what are some of your challenges as a parent to keep your children safe online? I mean, I think you shared with us, but let's just repeat the answer for that TikTok user who posed that question for you.
How do I?
Make sure your children are safe online.
How do I make sure my children are safe online? The first thing I did was I joined TikTok. I download TikTok and understand the
Stop
platform.
them lah.
Yes. No, I'm not able to stop them. they fall.
You didn't check out their page?
No, I didn't check out their page.
You should.
Because one thing about my children, me and my children, we have this trust that we built.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell them the moment you broke, the moment you break the trust, that's it. You are not going to have any more trust from me. So that's one thing that they hold. And then, of course, like I said, I download TikTok. I familiarize myself with TikTok sampai jadi macam sekarang.
Until you like the
Yeah. And the most important thing to me is engaging with your children. Always have that open, not only open but non-judgmental conversation with your children. You know, there are days that my children will talk about the media, about TikTok, about this, and I'll be in front like rolling my eyes out. Oh my God, what the hell this person is saying? I mean, sorry, what are they saying? But at the same time, I listened, because instead of just why you into that particular content? Why do you do that? I don't do that. I listened, and then I listened until the end. And what is the end of the conversation? Probably at the end of the conversation, they will say, "Oh, I didn't do that. I think it's wrong." Blah 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 blah. You know, so we know exactly where they are heading.
Yeah.
So we know they are thinking at that moment. That's what I do with my children. I mean, to all parents, I would advise, engage with your children. Have that conversation frequently with your children. Yeah.
Right. Well, the reason why I joined TikTok was to stalk on my child's account, but then I realized it's all of the funny dances. You know, I have still yet to explore the education side. I've only seen a few. Still don't really know how to use it so much. That's just my pure honesty. Maybe Toph, you can answer this question from a TikTok user. What does TikTok stand on digital safety, and how can creators have a peace of mind and continue to use the platform safely?
Sure. I think I mentioned at the top of our conversation that obviously digital safety is top priority for TikTok, right? And we have outlined several concrete steps, both in-app and off-platform, to do that. Now, in-platform, I mean, I was listening to Sophie, you know, that's like the North Star for parents. Like, I really hope all parents can be like that. But for those of them who are still, you know, struggling, admittedly, some of them have a struggle navigating their way to have that relationship with their children. TikTok has also put several features in the app. You know, I think for those who are watching, the kids might not appreciate this, but there's actually a pairing feature by which parents can actually pair their accounts with their teens, for instance.
Yeah.
So in that way, they can have some sort of oversight, not necessarily censorship over the content, but at least they know, right, who they're interacting with, who's sending them some DMs. So in that way, there's some sort of, you know, a bit of oversight without necessarily being overbearing on the children, right? That's something you could.
This argument.
I know. Yeah, but you know that's just some of the ways by which on the platform we try to help them gain some sort of view on what's going on in their children's lives, and hopefully now that they better understand what's going on in there, that helps them have that conversation, right? Like I said, we do have that family safety tool guide, like top 10 tips on how to start that conversation if it helps in that regard. But ultimately, I think we've already, as already mentioned by Sofina, Amina, Farzana, there is a whole lot of potential for learning on TikTok, right? During the pandemic, we saw the rise of what we call now as micro-learning, right? So for instance, Amina made a very good point. Like if you're unsure on whether or not something, say, is within the bounds of the law, you have creators like Amina who will be putting up content, very credible content from a legal perspective, so that you're guided. So for instance, if you're a teen and you're shy to reach out to your peers or you're shy to reach out to your parents, you can go to Amina's page and look at, oh, okay, apparently this is not within the bounds of the law. Or similarly, if your parents are not too approachable, you can go to Sofina's page and see, oh, okay, so this is how it's done, right? Yeah. And similarly, Farzana will come up with very good tips on, think before you do.
Yes.
So hopefully that will guide your actions, right? And of course, if our friends from MTMC would decide to go on TikTok as well, then you will know from the government.
The pressure is on.
Yeah, so you will know from the government side what the government is also doing to partner with the private sector, with individuals. So we'll have this holistic approach to the solution. So I think, TikTok is, like I said, very happy to help all of us navigate our way through, but ultimately, it will take, it's like a shared responsibility that all of us have to bear and all of us have to do our share for us to get to to a positive result.
That's really cool. Really cool indeed. Now, I just want to ask the creators and maybe Mr. Nizam as well, any advice before we wrap up today's session? Maybe let's start with you, Farzana.
Everyone should be more prepared rather than scared of the internet. I think that's a really apt motto that we should hold on to. Understanding the nitty-gritty of social media platforms, understanding the good and the bad, and then navigate ourselves wisely. Yeah, that's all from me.
Short and sweet. All right, Safina?
Okay. I would say to all parents, download TikTok. Get yourself familiarized with TikTok. No, get yourself familiarized with TikTok and understand your teens. Like Cik Nizam said, it takes the whole society, right? It takes a village to raise a child. So it takes a village to raise the whole society, and we, all of us have to play our role in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nina?
Okay. I can only say this: be mindful when you do anything on the social media, on the internet. When you search something or do content, be mindful when you write comments. Everyone have feelings. When you write, you body shame people, you cyberbully. There are effect on their mental health, on the emotional battle. So be mindful, and you can do things that enjoy your life, please. Be teenagers, be a child. Enjoy having fun on social media, but rightfully. Do not do things that could harm you, harm your family, and at the end of the day, insulting others, hurting other people. Because we have the responsibility to actually take care of each other, because we are one community. Yeah.
I'm going to say a ditto to all of that. But I think from MCMC, I'd like to get anyone who would like to find out more about internet, about social media, about how to become a digital savvy person. We have more than 900 Pusat Economy Digital throughout the country. We're going to hit 1,000 odd by the end of this year, early next year. So just come over to the paddies. They're all over. You can look it up on the web. We have a manager and an assistant manager who is going to be there all the time, that you can get help and find out more about getting prepared to this is going to be our universe in the future. So be prepared, come to Paddy and get all the things that you need.
Okay, so they can just walk in.
Yes.
All right. No, I love this session here today. We've heard from the creators from TikTok, from MCMC, government body, from Farzana, Monsters Among Us, a founder. And so I hope all of us, I know I've learned a lot. I hope all of you who joined this TikTok Live have learned a lot from this sharing session. I just want to say thank you very much for joining our wonderful panelists, Amina and Cik Nizam, Toph, Farzana and Safina. Do follow their TikTok accounts, and we do hope Cik Nizam will start his own. So, Safina, maybe you can give him a direction how does TikTok can share with Cik Nizam. Again, thank you so much to everyone who joined in our session. We appreciate your time, and we hope you really use the hashtag. Start your own fun online challenges right now. Think before you do. I want to see this go even more viral.
Yes.
All right, stay safe online, and we hope to see you at the next one.